So next up, we've got a small screen film. It's on Sky and Now TV, which is where I saw it. And that is called To Catch a Killer. And this stars one of my favourite actresses, Shailene Woodley. And this is set in Baltimore on New Year's Eve as lots of noisy fireworks go off. But also amongst the fireworks comes the noise of rifle fire as a sharpshooter picks off dozens of random citizens in one night. Now, Shailene Woodley plays an ambitious cop called Eleanor with a troubled background. All cops seem to have a troubled background in these films. But she's got a burning ambition. And she is first on the scene at one of the shootings. And supporting the case is a spiky FBI agent called Lamarck, played by Ben Mendelsohn, who is also a very reliable actor. He's assigned to the case and he sees her potential and elevates her to be the police liaison on the team. Here's a clip.
We have an Olympic-class marksman running wild. Every shot found its mark. No casings, no brass, not a single fingerprint.
Start recording. Get every face on video. Get him on your phone.
He didn't come here to die, and he does not want to be found. We're going to disappoint him.
Right, Scott, did this float your boat?
I liked this film, but I had mixed feelings, I'll be honest. I thought the opening really grabbed me. I threw it on as something new just to try it out. I got about 5 minutes into it, and then I actually stopped it. The reason being, I thought my dad would also love to watch this film. And so I was like, you know what, I'm going to save this. I'm going to see this with my dad because he loves thrillers. And I just knew from that opening 5 minutes, this is going to be good. The fact that we open with this sharpshooter just picking people out of nowhere, just all over the place, it was just really exciting. There's chaos everywhere. You don't know what's happening or why. But yeah, so Shailene Woodley, as you said, is the first on scene there. And like you, I think she's a great actress. I've loved her since the sort of Divergent series. I think she's a really, really good talent. And again, the connection that she's got with Ben Mendelsohn here is a big part of what's good about this film. I think there's some interesting dynamics with a bit of sexism and misogyny going in there just to sort of spice up that relationship. One particular scene where there's a baby during an interview and just naturally she's asked to deal with it when there's another character, a male character there, and that was just like, okay.
Lots of go make the tea, love.
Yeah. While at the same time, she's proving herself as a very capable police officer that should be doing her job rather than asked to do things like this. I thought that the script was good, but there were some moments where there was longer dialogue scenes that my attention did drift a little bit. There were some of these scenes that I think could have been cut a little bit shorter to make the flow a little bit better, for my personal opinion. But I thought at the same time, what was actually said in these scenes was really well written, and the cinematography and how they were thrown together looked really nice. And I'll just add as well that I quite like the score. It's not anything over the top, it's quite subtle, but it added to the atmosphere of this type of thriller, almost a little bit film noir, but more modern in a way. I think I liked it. I think it was a great start, but I think it could have shaved a little bit from some of the longer dialogue scenes.
Okay. Andy?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a very highly stylized thriller. I think you guys know that I'm very friendly with Carol Morley, the film director, and this reminded me very much of her film Out of Blue, which is a film I love, which again is about a female cop who's got a troubled background, and there's misogyny and all sorts of other stuff going on in that film as well. And the style, the shooting style is very similar. It's almost like, to me, they were, I know that film backwards, they were modelling on what Carol had done.
Okay.
Interesting that the score too was fairly similar. Carter Burwell did the score for this, whereas Clint Mansell did the score for Out of Blue, but they sound fairly similar. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a gripping thriller. The opening had me. I wanted to know what was happening. I agree that at 190 minutes, Scott, it's probably just a little too long. I just thought the performances were really good. I thought that Shailene Woodley was great. Ben Mendelsohn was great. There was one big shock moment that took me by surprise, which is always nice in a sense when something happens out of blue that you don't expect. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I gave it an 8. I was gripped by it. I thought it was a really good police procedural thriller.
Yeah, I mean it's not very unique, is it, in terms of its subject matter? But I did think it was well done, and I quite agree with you both about that opening 15 minutes, which I thought were really, really good. And there's a lovely jolting moment, which we won't spoil. The trailer spoils it, actually. The trailer has got it in it. But there's a lovely jolting moment towards the end of that first 15 minutes that made me go, whoa! And I wasn't expecting it at all. And I thought, that's a mark of a interesting director to do that. After that first 15 minutes, for me, it never quite got up to that level again of delivering that amount of entertainment and that shock value that we had. There are some very nice scenes. The ones in the Mall, I think, were very well done. The other thing that I thought was really interesting was the dynamic between Eleanor, Shailene Woodley's character, and Lamarck, played by Ben Mendelsohn. And there is a suspicion that Mendelsohn may be some sort of sexual stalker, predator, Me Too type boss employee thing going on. And there's a wonderful scene where Woodley says, and excuse language because we try to keep it out of these podcasts, but if Guardians of the Galaxy can have one, then so can we. She says, if you give them the job to me to fuck me, then you can take the job and stick it up your ass, right? Which I thought was really good. And the outcome to that, how that unwinds, was a very unexpected twist. So I thought there's some quite clever script stuff going on there. The one thing that I think disappointed me particularly was one of you was saying about the fact this is a nice story about female empowerment, about her character overcoming the misogyny in the police department and using her innate abilities in order to actually progress the case and make it work well. And then the director, whose name I forget, is an Argentinian, Damian Schifron, goes and shows lots of lascivious shots of Shailene Woodley sat on the loo, sat in the bath, swimming underwater for lengths in a swimsuit. And that just set me off thinking, well, you're trying to portray this as a empowered modern woman, and then you drop in these shots which were really quite unnecessary into the piece. And to me, that detracted from the overall message of the film. I thought that was a shame. But yeah,
I was thinking about Silence of the Lambs and the relationship that Clarice Starling had with her boss in the FBI, and they avoided exactly what you were talking about there, Bob, in that film brilliantly. That was a very interesting dynamic between Clarice Starling and I can't remember his name, but the head of of her division in the FBI in that film. Yeah, and it needed to veer more in that direction.
And indeed, the relationship here, in terms of the fact she's been taken on because she kind of in tune with the killer. Yeah. In terms of the way they think, I think that has a lot of Silence of the Lambs. I hadn't.
Yeah, it did make me think of Silence.
Yeah, that's a good match. Yes. So I thought it was good. I thought the ending was a little bit overblown for me and not particularly believable, but hey, it wasn't bad. So I found it good, exciting, slightly formulaic, but certainly well worth a watch, and it kept me well entertained. I gave this one a 7 out of 10. And you said you gave it an 8, did you, Andy?
Yeah.
8. And Scott, what would you give this?
I was going to give this one a 6.
6. Okay, that's an average of 7, but that still makes for a just.